I've been covering celebrity interviews for years, and I can honestly say I've never seen anything like what happened between Chris Pratt and Stephen Colbert last night. It started with a simple question about his faith. Within 5 minutes, Colbert was questioning his church's teachings on LGBTQ+ issues. Within 10 minutes, Chris was visibly uncomfortable, defending his personal beliefs. And by the 15-minute mark, Chris was standing up, pointing at Colbert, and screaming, "Stop attacking my beliefs," before unhooking his microphone and walking away. The audience sat in shocked silence. Security moved closer, and Stephen Colbert just sat there, trying to justify what had just happened. Hit that like button if you think people's religious beliefs should be off-limits in interviews, because what Colbert did here sparked a debate that's still raging. First of all, don't forget to like and subscribe to our video, and don't forget to write to us where you watched this video. The Late Show theme music faded as Stephen Colbert welcomed Chris Pratt with his signature smile. Chris walked out looking relaxed in a navy blazer over a gray t-shirt and dark jeans. The audience erupted in cheers. This was supposed to be a fun interview about his new action film. "Chris Pratt, welcome back," Colbert said enthusiastically. "Thanks for having me, Stephen," Chris replied warmly. They discussed terminal velocity, a father saving his family from terrorists. Chris talked about how fatherhood had changed him, how the role resonated personally. "Faith has been a big part of that journey for you, hasn't it?" Colbert said. Chris's smile flickered. "Yeah, my faith is important to me." "You attend Zoe Church in Los Angeles, correct?" "I do, yeah." "But that church has been controversial," Colbert said, and the temperature shifted. "There have been questions about their stance on LGBTQ+ inclusion." Chris straightened. "Stephen, I'd really rather talk about the movie." "Of course," Colbert said, but didn't change topics. "But when a major Hollywood star attends a church that's been accused of being unwelcoming to LGBTQ+ people, it raises questions." "I think there's misinformation out there," Chris said carefully. "But is it affirming?" Colbert pressed. "Does your church fully embrace LGBTQ+ members or just tolerate them?" Chris's jaw tightened. "I don't think it's appropriate to interrogate someone about their church on a talk show." "But you're a public figure," Colbert said. "Your choices influence millions." "I'm not attending a church that marginalizes anyone," Chris said firmly. The pressure increases. "The pastor has connections to Hillsong, which has well-documented anti-LGBTQ+ positions," Colbert continued. Chris gripped the armrests. "People create controversy where there isn't any. I attend church because I believe in Jesus Christ. That's my personal choice." "But personal choices have public consequences." "So you're saying I shouldn't be allowed to have my own faith?" Chris asked, edge in his voice. "I'm saying if your faith community excludes people, you should answer questions." "My faith community doesn't harm anyone," Chris said, voice rising. "You're attacking my faith." "I'm not attacking your faith. I'm asking legitimate questions." "No," Chris shook his head. "You're making accusations and demanding I defend things my church hasn't done." "Multiple former members have spoken out about feeling unwelcome because of their sexuality," Colbert pressed. "I can't speak for everyone's experience," Chris said tightly, "but mine has been loving and inclusive." "Inclusive of LGBTQ+ people? Inclusive of everyone. But if that community teaches that homosexuality is a sin—" "Stop," Chris interrupted loudly. "You're putting words in my mouth." The tension was palpable. Audience members shifted uncomfortably. "Don't you feel any conflict attending a church that might not fully accept your LGBTQ+ friends?" Colbert asked. Chris's face flushed. "You're assuming based on cherry-picked information. But if there's smoke, isn't there usually fire? Sometimes there's just smoke people blow to create a fire that doesn't exist. You're doing that right now." Chris stood up suddenly. The audience gasped. "People can't accept that someone can be Christian and also loving and accepting," Chris said, pacing. "Those things aren't mutually exclusive. But when churches preach against LGBTQ+ rights, my church doesn't do that." Chris's voice rose sharply. You keep saying churches to make me defend positions I don't hold. Do you believe being gay is a sin? Colbert asked directly. Chris stared at him. That question is designed to trap me no matter how I answer. It's a simple yes or no. No, it's not, Chris said, voice shaking. If I say no, you'll ask why I attend a church you claim believes otherwise. If I say yes, you'll call me a bigot. You've already decided what you think about me. I haven't decided anything, Colbert said. This isn't a conversation, Chris said, voice cracking. This is an interrogation. Your faith influences millions. So does yours, Chris pointed at Colbert. You're Catholic. Should I question you about every scandal the Catholic Church has taken? The Crusades? Abuse cover-ups? Colbert's face hardened. That's not the same. Why not? Why is my faith fair game but yours isn't? Tears formed in Chris's eyes. You've made me feel like I'm a bad person for going to church, for having faith. That's not what I'm trying to do. Then what are you trying to do? Chris demanded. You invited me to promote my movie, and instead you're using me to make a political point. I have LGBTQ plus friends, Chris continued, tears streaming. I love them. I support them. But because I also go to church, I'm the enemy. I'm not saying you're hateful. Then stop attacking my beliefs, Chris exploded. Stop acting like my faith makes me a bad person. The studio went silent. Chris was shaking, tears on his face. You know what hurts most? He said quietly. I've always tried to be kind. I've never used my platform to hurt anyone. But that's not enough. He wiped his eyes. In Hollywood, faith is fine as long as you apologize for it, as long as you're not really that serious about it. He reached for his microphone. I'm not going to apologize for my faith. Chris, please don't leave, Colbert said. All you've done is judge me, Chris said, unhooking the mic. He set it on the chair. To anyone watching who's been made to feel like their faith is wrong, it's not. You're allowed to believe. Chris looked at Colbert. You're Catholic. You should understand what it's like to have your faith attacked. I thought you'd be different. Chris, I'm sorry if You're sorry if? Chris repeated. Look at me. I'm crying on television because you made me defend my relationship with God. Chris turned to the camera. To my LGBTQ plus friends, I love you. I support you. My faith doesn't diminish that. Anyone who makes you choose between loving God and loving people is wrong. He looked at Colbert. But I won't be interrogated about my faith like it's a crime. This doesn't have to end like this, Colbert said. Yes, it does, Chris replied. You showed me who you are tonight, and I showed you who I am. The difference is, I have nothing to apologize for. Chris Pratt walked off the Late Show set, leaving behind a stunned audience and one of the most controversial moments in late-night television history. Colbert sat in silence before speaking. We're going to take a break. But everyone knew this wasn't something a break could fix. So there you have it, how Chris Pratt walked off the Late Show after one of the most heated religious debates in late-night history. Within hours, hashtags like #IStandWithChris and #FaithIsNotHate were trending. Christian groups praised him. LGBTQ plus advocates had mixed reactions. The question everyone's debating, did Colbert cross a line or was he doing his job? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe, and let me know if religious beliefs should be off limits. Because sometimes the most important conversations happen when someone refuses to back down.